everybody, and welcome to another Dressage Addict Rider to Rider Support Work It Wednesday. Now this little cutie is Midnight. She is going to be our model for this week's video because we are doing a video all about tight and tense ponies and how to get them to soften, relax and start to show off their best bits in the dressage ring. Now she has a very long story, but the short version is she's a bit of a rescue. She has significant mental issues with canter, so we suspect she was a trotter. And it's taken us quite a long time to get her to settle. So I'm going to take you through the exercises that I find most beneficial for her. One thing I keep really close to the forefront of my mind when training a tense and tight pony is the scales of training. So what are we prioritising? And now the theory behind this triangle is that you can't have what's at the top until you have what's at the bottom. So you start with your rhythm. Is the walk a true 4-beat rhythm? Not a 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be an even 1, 2, 3, 4. As they're stepping, you'll trot the same, a nice even 1, 2, 1, 2, and it shouldn't change if you're going in a straight line, a circle around the corner. Like, just have you got that basic rhythm? And once you've got that, can you start to bend the body and maintain that rhythm? So can you do a circle to the left followed by a circle to the right without that rhythm changing? And then you'd move on to the contact, like are they stepping forward from the hind leg into the contact? And now to do that, you're going to need to have leg on. And on a sharp, hot, tense pony, that can be really difficult. So a lot of these exercises will address how to get the leg on these ponies. And to be honest, I don't think any further up the triangle when I'm training these types of ponies. Until you've got rhythm, suppleness and contact, which generally tense ponies don't have, you can't get anything above that. So we're just focusing on the bottom 3 today. So my first little tip is about how to pick these ponies up. So Midnight's had a bit of a walk around the school, a bit of a lob round on a long rein and trot, and now she is starting to think about doing some proper work. So I start in the walk with a bit of a long rein, quite a long neck as you can see. She can stretch if she wants. I'm encouraging her to take that nose out and down. I'm doing lots of small circles and turns, so bending left, bending right, getting that body to bend and flex and starting to get my leg around her. And each time I change the bend and do a smaller turn, she just shortens the neck slightly, and I use that shortening of the neck to shorten my reins a little bit. So this means I'm gradually bringing the neck and the head into an outline type frame, but we don't have that confrontational shortening of the reins that when you've got a pony that likes to get tense in the neck can really encourage them to get short and choppy in the stride. So this way I'm just gradually shortening the whole frame. She's not realising, and we're maintaining that nice relaxed walk rhythm. So there's your rhythm section of the triangle, but we're also having a look at some of the suppleness and contact here because we want the contact to be soft from the start, and we're suppling the body by doing all these bends. Now as you can see, she's a lot higher and shorter in the contact, but we still have fairly nice relaxed walk rhythm. So this next exercise is one of my favourites for all horses of all types, but it's really good for these tense ponies for allowing you to get the leg on them in a really non-confrontational way. So I'm hoping it comes out quite clearly on here, but I'm not entirely sure because we do it quite subtly on Midnight. So I've just changed from inside to outside bend there. So I swap my diagonal, swap my position. So I'm going from left to right bend. As you can see, she's in outside bend coming round here. And then I apply the outside leg to spiral her into a small circle in the middle. And then when she settles on my new outside rein, so what is actually the inside, I change, swap back to inside bend and spiral out again. So the whole time you need one leg on pushing them in or out and the other leg there providing the support, so it allows you to get both legs round the pony but in a really calm way. And then another variation on this is we change the bend again, but I'm just waiting till she settles. I don't do anything until she's feeling calm and settled. We go out into these sessions with no pressure whatsoever, because there's just no point winding her up. She can do that on her own. She does not need my help. So again there, I wasn't very happy because we lost the rhythm, and rhythm is key. So we swap into the outside bend, as you can see there, and then we're going to start to spiral in. So I make sure my weight stays over that right, the outside foot. The outside rein is now my new inside, so my left hand is holding steady, giving her some support, and my left leg is basically there for her to lean on and take some balance from. Get onto our small circle inside, and this time we're going to stay in the outside bend and spiral out in the outside bend. So it's actually a little half past step, but don't tell her that. She doesn't know she's doing fancy dressage. So we just step out. It doesn't matter how long it takes, and then when you get to the outside and swap back to true bend, they should suddenly find their body feels so much easier. You can sort of let their head and neck out, and the trot will start to move a bit more. The paces should open up. She should find some freedom in the shoulders, and she just suddenly should feel quite relaxed. So when you swap that bend back, make sure you take a big deep breath out and just let the head and neck go long and a bit lower. So do the same thing on the other rein. So on a 20-metre circle in true bend, so inside bend. When they're feeling settled and relaxed, you swap to outside bend, so change of posture, put the weight over the new inside foot, which is the left one, so the outside one. Sorry, this is very confusing with insides and outsides, I do understand. If you need any more clarification, do just give me a shout. So we swap into outside bend, so your left leg becomes your inside leg on this rein, so your weight is down your left leg. Your right hand and your right leg, so the ones on the smaller side of the circle, are providing the support while you spiral in onto them, making sure you're staying over that left foot, keeping in left bend. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to spiral in and out. It's better to be slower than to rush them in and out and them just falling rather than actually leg yielding. So make sure she's balanced and settled on that small circle. And then the change of bend into true bend, so back into inside bend and start to spiral out again. So I'm just getting my legs around her, but she's not finding it confrontational. She's not trying to run away from it because she's thinking she's bending and she's soft. And then again, we'll swap her back into outside bend. I don't know if you can see throughout this, but the head and neck is actually getting more forward, longer and a bit softer and a bit lower, which is the whole aim. She's starting to open up that back, swing through the back a bit more and just allow me in a little bit more. So swapping to the outside bend, weight over my left foot, right leg and hand providing her support as she spirals in onto them. Using that right hand and right leg to keep her upright on that small circle, and then start spiraling out off that right leg. And as you can see, the rhythm is faltering here. That's because she is weakest in her right hind leg, so she finds pushing herself out with that right hind really, really difficult. But that's okay, we just take our time, however long she needs. If we only take tiny baby steps, then that is absolutely fine. She's trying, she's giving me what I've asked, I'm happy with that. And then as you change back into that true bend, you can just see that trot opening up there. She's starting to swing through the shoulders, the back and the hindquarters now. The neck and the frame are just opening up and she's starting to think about taking that contact forward. So we now have a lovely rhythm with good suppleness through the body, and we're starting to work into that nice contact. So those are your bottom three of that pyramid. This exercise can be used for more advanced horses to create more flash and impulsion in your trot as well. So that's a handy one if you've got something a little bit dull in the trot work. You can just open them up and allow a bit more flash. This next exercise is looking at your control, the straightness of the body, the suppleness, because you can't be straight unless you're supple, your rhythm, and a bit of that contact work. So we're doing small circle in the loops of a serpentine with a transition to walk over the centre line. It'll all make sense as you watch it. So we're doing a serpentine, but as we hit the track of each loop, I'm just doing a small 10-metre circle, and then as I cross the centre line on the loops, I'm doing a transition to walk. On the circles and the turns, I'm really really focusing on the fact that her bottom is following her shoulders. So it's like she is on some train tracks. So we're making sure that body's staying in alignment both on these circles. So as you can see, her quarters didn't flick out on the largest point of that circle, which I was really pleased with. And then your transitions across the centre line are coming from a squeezing leg to hand motion. So think about compressing both your thighs together and down and squeezing the horse down into that walk. We're really prioritising them stepping forward into the walk rather than stepping down and stopping into the walk. We want it to be like a flowing transition. So you can just keep playing around with that, doing some small circles. So those, I lost the hindquarters there, you saw them just flick out on the centre line. So I will be really focusing on that on the next circle. Squeezing leg to hand, see that wasn't quite as forward a step as I'd like. And then squeezing so we get a smooth upwards transition. So this just allows you to move between the paces, again getting the leg on them, as well as controlling the body positioning, controlling the suppleness, the bend, and working towards keeping the same rhythm throughout this whole exercise. See, that was better. It was a more forward to walk rather than stopping into the walk. So remember, serpentines with small circles and transitions. On your circles and your turns, prioritise the back end following in the path of the shoulders, keeping the body nice and straight even though you're on the curve. I hope that makes sense. And then your transitions smooth downwards so it's forward to walk and smooth upwards again. Another exercise to try that follows on from this is small circles followed by a shallow loop with a small circle at the widest point and small circle again. Again, it makes more sense if you look at it. So we're doing the small circle and then we're going to go in a shallow loop. See, I'm not happy with the way the rhythm's changing in this, so that would be something I'd work on for next time. Small circle to the right, then back onto the shallow loop to have a small circle to the left when we hit the track. But it's just another one for being able to move the body from left to right bend without the quarters flicking out and maintaining the rhythm while you do so. And now we're going to have a little look at the canter, and as much as I was overjoyed she was so good, I was a bit disappointed that she didn't show me any of her moves into the canter, because she actually went into the canter beautifully and softly, which is very unlike her. So normally she can shoot off into the canter, and what I do if they're prone to that is rather than grab them and ask them to slow down using the bit, I would use the legs to turn the body on a small circle. So like we were doing with the leg yielding and stuff, you've got her moving off the leg now. So use that leg to put her on a 10-15 metre circle, because she cannot run fast around those. The faster she's going, the harder she's working herself. So it means they slow down, sit the canter and listen to you without confrontation. And there for the downwards transition, I try not to hold them. I try to just let them fall. They have to learn self-carriage in that transition. It's not your job to carry them through it. So I changed the rein, and as you can see, she's got a little bit choppier and sharper. So we don't go into canter until she has settled again. So I prep the canter posture. So I'm thinking about pulling that left hip forward, the weight being down that left foot, the outside leg a little bit back, and then just waiting for her to settle, soften the back and start to lift that inside front leg, because she cannot pick up left canter if she's running on the left front leg. She'll just pick up the wrong leg. So we're just working the body, suggesting that we might be thinking about canter with the posture, but saying it's cool, we can just settle and think about canter, making sure she's set up to be in a position to pull off a really good transition rather than not being in a good frame and a good mind state for the transition, and then just quietly pop into canter, just like that. And although she can get a bit tense and tight this way, I try to ignore it. Again, she's not running off, so I'm just going to let her keep pottering around in the canter. And then the same when I come to do the downwards transition, I keep the hands soft, I squeeze with the thighs to bring her back to the trot, and however she comes back to the trot is the trot she has to cope with. So if she runs on the forehand, that's her problem. She has to learn to pick herself up, otherwise she'll trip. Whereas if she comes up and connects the core and engages the hind end and trots nicely, then she gets to finish and has big pats just like that. So just to recap, when working with a tight and tense horse, we're focusing on the rhythm, the suppleness, and potentially a bit of the contact. Prioritise your rhythm, supple the body, and with those two things, the brain should slowly start to relax and you should be able to connect the contact from back to front, rather than pulling the nose backwards to reach the hind legs. The exercises we went through are picking up the frame. This can be done in walk, trot or canter, but I like to do it in walk, having had a bit of a walk and a trot and a long rein. Then we had a look at the leg yield circles, so 20 metre circle into outside bend, leg yield in, swap bend to back to inside bend and leg yield out, and then do it again, so into outside bend on the large circle, into the inner circle, and then stay in outside bend and leg yield out onto the big circle before changing back to true bend and enjoying the open, relaxed feeling that it gives the horses. Then we had the serpentines with the circles in transition, so prioritising the back end, following in the path of the front end, thinking about the body being on train tracks, and the transitions being a smooth step from the trot into the walk, a true forward to walk transition. And then the 10 metre shallow loops with the circles, just another way of practicing are the hindquarters following the shoulders, and then followed by the canter, so taking your time in the canter transition, preparing way before you actually ask for it so they get used to the canter posture, asking nice and quietly when they feel ready to give you a good transition. If they zoom off in the canter, use small circles to bring them back and sit them up, so it's a non-confrontational sort of correction. And then for the transition down, don't carry them through it, allow them to find their own balance.